Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to Hey Jay, where we're going to take a look at a game and ask, is it good? Today we're going to look at Rime, and I can tell you, it's freaking sad. We're going to talk about how sad this game made me, but is it good? This would be a good point to have like an opening intro scene, but we don't have those yet on Hey Jay. So we're just going to get right into this review of my experience with Rime. So Rime came out last year on all systems except for the Switch around the springtime. A little history on here. It came out on the Switch around November. The performance issues were bad on it, so I didn't touch it. It just ran terribly on the Switch. And then lo and behold, I get a PS Plus subscription in January, and I learned that this game was free in February, which is perfect because it is a game that intrigued me and that I wanted to play. So it's not very long of a game. It's about six or 7 hours long. So it's a really good game that you can do in one sitting if you like put some time aside for it. And if you are into gameplay sessions like that long, I would recommend doing it in all one sitting because this game is very much like an experience. So is it good? Like, yes. I'm just going to tell you right up front, Rime is a really good game, especially on the... So I played it on the PS4. I can't speak to the Switch version. I really don't know how much worse it is. I do know that they're patching the game, so it's maybe going to be better. But speaking from the PS4 perspective, very, very good game. It's like I said, it's an experience. So you start off the game as a boy who seems to be stranded on an island after some kind of like hurricane or after you're shipwrecked or something. You really don't know. You get glimpses of what happened, but you're not sure what to do. You start off on an island. It's a nice sunny day, and the game just says, go, figure it out. Wander the island. So after you wander, you kind of see these beams of lights, and you go to them, and you start solving puzzles, not because the game is telling you to, but because you want to. And that's one of the big differences here. I can get tired of puzzle games very fast when they feel very much like, here's a section, here's a puzzle, here's a section, here's a puzzle. And the puzzles feel very much gradually harder. Like, in, say, Zelda, you're going to have the whole like block puzzle where you push and pull a block, and then like you slide things. And you're going to see that come back progressively in progressively harder stages the further you go into the game. What I love about Rime is the puzzles feel very organic to where you are, and they're very different and so well enmeshed in the environment that it never feels tedious, and it never feels like you are stopping your exploration in order to solve a puzzle. Instead, the puzzles feel as part of the environment, and that is very that makes for a very different experience. On top of that, another thing that I loved about Rime is the fact that there is no text and no dialogue, which is amazing. There is no point where it's like, oh, you remember to push A, or in this case X, or circle to do anything. The game doesn't tell you anything. It just says, go, do it. Eventually you do run into a companion, which is a fox, and the fox kind of acts as your guide, that if you take too long or the game realizes you don't know where you're going, you're going to hear the fox bark. Turns out, I guess that's what foxes do. They bark. They made a whole song about what does the fox say. According to this game, they bark, and they sound like a dog. Nothing like what they sound like in the song. So anyways, yeah, when you're lost, you just end up following the fox, and you're going to make it to the next step, which is great because that reinforces the point that this game is about an experience. It has a story to tell, and it doesn't want you to get stuck and frustrated on a puzzle. So you'll never run into a puzzle where you're just racking your brain and it's not fun because you're trying to figure it out. But it will challenge you to the point where you'll feel like, oh, okay, this goes here, this happens here, and you'll have like an aha moment, and that's rewarding. What blows my mind away so much about Rime is how organic everything is. The game gently nudges you to like, do this. And the player doesn't really notice it because everything is designed so well. Like, this game is just designed in a way that I can't, like, a lot of people like to describe the game as, oh, it's like Zelda. Well, no, it's not like Zelda at all. Zelda is very, and I'm talking about like pre-Breath of the Wild Zelda. Everything is very much segmented, and you know what to do when you arrive at a certain point. And there's a lot more battle, and the puzzle to battle ratio, everything's very much more balanced. This game, nothing like that, and the puzzles are completely different. Like I said, they're very much organic and enmeshed in the environment. And of course, as I said at the beginning, the game is sad. So the story starts out beautiful, and you're all like, "Yay! All these happy things are happening," and then it gets to your emotions. Like I didn't really get emotionally invested into it until about the third chapter or so. I think there's 5 or 6 chapters, if I recall right. And from this point on, I will spoil the game. So I'm going to put spoilers big on the screen. And if you don't want this game spoiled for you, just mute the video and forward it until the word comes down. When you don't see spoilers, I'm going to be done talking about spoilers. So here we go. Spoilers. There's a part where you build a companion and you're following your companion and you're solving puzzles together with your companion. It's this big eyeball on 2 legs, has no emotion, but somehow the game manages to make you feel for this eyeball, and you grow attached to it. I was in love with this eyeball, and I was like, this is it. This is where the game is going to take the eyeball away from me, because now I'm emotionally invested in this eyeball. And if I know my games the way I know my games, that means they're going to take it away to get that emotional response of feeling of loss and all that. And of course, that's exactly what they do. The next level, after you've built him and freed him and brought all of his friends back to life after he was sad that he was alone, you go out into a world where it's dark, it's raining, and I really love the way that they sacrifice the companion, but it's still sad. For those of you who don't know, I don't know why you're watching this because I'm spoiling everything, but the eye on the legs, basically, the companion dies by meshing himself into a door, which kills him but opens the door for you to continue. And that's like how this whole system is made. And the first few robots that you're not like attached to go through it, so you see that happens, and then there's like one robot left, and it's your companion, and then you see there's one door left, and like the player puts 2 and 2 together, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna happen. But then there's a cutscene, and the kid that you're playing realizes it's gonna happen, and he's like banging the eyeball, don't do it, and you're like, no. The player is like saying the exact same thing, but then the eyeball goes into the slot and he dies, and it's like the kid screams, and I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling this loss and I don't want to. Why are you making me feel this? But at the same time, it's good, because feeling things in games is good. So yeah, you lose your companion, and from that point on, like, that's the climax, and then it just gets sadder and sadder. Since we're in spoiler territory here, like the whole I feel I can relate to this game more as a father than maybe other players. I'm not really sure, but the whole story clings on the whole father-son relationship, and the fact that the kid is dead is just freaking so sad, and the way that it ends, and he just like lets go of the red, like he lets go of his son basically. It's freaking sad. I don't even want to talk about it because it's so sad. Anyways, let's bring the spoiler tag down. No more spoilers from this point on. So that's why the game is so sad for those who just came back and joined us. Oh God, just remembering it, it's making me feel all these things. But on the for everything else, the game is absolutely beautiful. So aside the gameplay and everything I've talked about, I love the visuals. I love the cell shading style that it's going for. Very like Wind Waker-ish. Just beautiful, beautiful. But what's even more beautiful is the soundtrack. Throughout the whole game, you're playing with this really nice like piano backdrop, almost like Breath of the Wild, but maybe it's not just piano. I'm not remembering it right. Maybe it's a full orchestra, but it's beautiful music. Like I could play this soundtrack as the background of my life just to like enjoy it. It's really beautiful music to listen to. And the way that it's timed in the game so that when you arrive at certain key events and you're doing key things, the music syncs up and it really it creates way more emotional response. It's just a beautiful soundtrack. So while the game is very simple on its surface, it's freaking fantastic. I was blown away by Rime. I thought it'd be a mediocre to good game. This game is great to excellent. I would love to see more games like this. More games that are so organically designed, that tell a beautiful story, that have this wonderful soundtrack and these great visuals, and that have just, I can't think of another game like this. And that's probably because of my own lack of experience with maybe other games that are out there. I'm actually seeking out games like this now. So if you have played Rime and you know of other games like it, please recommend them to me, because I'm seeking them out. Like, I haven't played Journey. I think Journey might, from the trailer, look like this. So I'm going to try that next. And hopefully it's a good one. But yeah, Rime, definitely recommend picking it up. Fantastic game. Wonderfully done, Rime team. Like, I applaud you guys, because you guys did a phenomenal job here. In terms of anything I don't like, Like, I feel I have to say one thing I don't like. Oh, one thing I don't like about the game is actually collectibles. I only learned that there were collectibles in the game about 3/4 of the way in when I accidentally picked one up. And I was like, what is this? And then I found out there's a menu. And in the menu, you have all these collectibles of random things. And when you beat the game, you can replay levels and it'll tell you how many you missed of each collectible. The game is such a good, like, experience from beginning to end. I don't feel the need to go back and replay things to collect. It just doesn't feel like that type of game. And I don't think the rewards unlock anything or provide anything other than maybe different outfits. Like, if collecting all the items actually provided a different ending, I would definitely go for it. And actually, that's something I meant to look into before I did this video, but I didn't. So maybe there is. And if there is a different ending when you collect everything, then all of the feedback I said, just forget about it. Maybe there's a better thing in the spoiler that I said. So yeah, that's my only negative takeaway. Everything else is good. I would have liked to actually, no, it's the perfect length. I can't even say I would have liked to have it longer. It was the perfect length. So yes, Rime, if you have it available on your Xbox, on your PS4, on your PC, I recommend it there. On the Switch, I would recommend getting I would recommend checking out a review of someone who has played on the Switch to get their take on it, because it sounds like a very different experience there. I personally would not get on the Switch from what I've heard. But yeah, great game, fantastic, blew me away. One of my great games of 2018. Just a good time. Thanks again for joining me, guys. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe. We got more content coming. We've got Sunday podcast now. Tons of good stuff here. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep it classy.